Happy Wednesday, everybody. My goodness, it is hard to believe it's already Wednesday of I don't know what week or what month or what even the actual number is attached to today. I just know it's Wednesday because on my calendar it says Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Jake will be joining me. So that is what we're going to be doing. We are going to be joined by zookeeper Jake here pretty soon. And I got to tell you, I'm a little excited because, well, I know Jake takes care of lots of animals and talks about lots of animals, but I'm just saying that there might be a particular species that we might talk about today. But if not, I'll still talk about it because that's what I like to do is talk about binturongs. But as you all know, this all started with me kind of ramping up to Endangered Species Day, talking to people about their own animal experiences that are memorable to them. And a lot of people I've been talking to, they are not necessarily animal people. Some of them are, but either way, I've been loving this, and everyone's feedback has been great. The comments, the direct messages I've been getting, everyone's clearly enjoying these too. So I don't know how long I'll do this for, but we're going to keep can. And I just asked for Jake to join us. We'll see if he's going to connecting. There he is.
Hey,
How's it going, Jake?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing very well. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit now that we're in the square boxes here.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody who follows me knows you. So first thing, once we're done with this live, or if you're watching this later over on IGTV, make sure you follow Jake. His content is great. A lot of animal content, educational stuff. And you do work a lot for your zoo as well. So I'll let you take it from here. Tell everybody who you are and what you do, man.
Thanks. Yeah, so my name is Jake, and I'm a zookeeper. I currently work at the Nashville Zoo in Tennessee, which is really fun, and it's a beautiful place to live. And yeah, I get to take care of ambassador animals, which are animals that are typically a little more tractable, a little more handleable, that we can take out and engage the public with. So I know for sure Rick's favorite species that I work with is the binturong.
Whatever gave you that idea?
They are so much fun. So yeah, you'll have to come out and meet them sometime. I'm sure they'd love to see you.
I really want to get out there and come see you sometime and meet your animals because I love. We connected a while ago when you were working at a different facility. I think either on Twitter, maybe it was Instagram, one of the two, and we've just stayed in touch ever since. And so even though we've actually never met in person, I feel I know you fairly well,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny because it's what social media does for us when we connect with people is you get to know people really well, but yet, come to think of it, we've never met face to face.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of fun to be able to do something like this, though. I'm sure you've seen some of the ones we've done so far here, doing these interviews with everybody across the board. One of the first things I like to ask people before we jump into the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about is kind of what we're all dealing with. And it's part of what's kind of spurred this conversation idea in my mind is like, I can't go out and do a lot of the work I would do normally outside of the home. So here I'm at home, what can I do with my time? And it's like, I could do this. So I know you as a keeper, probably like other keepers, are considered an essential worker, but how has this whole pandemic changed your life, or has it, as far as what you can and cannot do in your work and everything else?
Yeah, I think the biggest change at work for us is like we're separated into teams so we can try to like quarantine from one another. The idea being like if one person goes down, it doesn't affect the entire team.
Right.
Because we always need to be there to care for the creatures. And then the other major change that we're kind of implementing as we learn more and more is more and more PPE or personal protective equipment around certain species. So the binturongs, the clouded leopards that I care for, and our serval are all kind of like at-risk species because they're carnivores and vivarids. So we just found out 2 days ago that we need to start wearing face shields around all the creatures. So that's going to be like another thing to get all the animals adjusted to,
Right.
Which is fun to see who cares and who doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah. Wilbur, our male binturong, he really likes to like sniff you and like look you in the face.
Right.
And so when I go see him now and I have to wear my mask, he like will just try to like pull the mask down, which is really cute. And I'm like, no, we both need this, buddy. Like it's for our own safety. But
Right.
it's sweet that to think that he is like, no, I want to see your whole face.
Yeah. That does bring up a good point. A lot of people have asked me, like, have the animals noticed a difference with the lack of public in the facilities? And I think the first week, some species did notice, but now everyone's kind of just doing their thing. So it's kind of an interesting point to bring up now that the staff that they're used to seeing and looking at their face as is. For some animals, like in ours, our primate protocol requires you to wear a mask anyways. But for a lot of our ambassador animals, that's not normal to see that. And then I'll be curious to know what happens when the public does get back on property and the public is wearing masks. Will the ambassador animals notice that, or will they have been accustomed to it enough with the people working with them? Who knows? But it should be interesting.
Yeah, it's always when I think that they're going to be fine with something that, like, for whatever reason, they're not into it. And then the opposite is like, I'm thinking, oh gosh, he's really going to hate this. And he just surprises me and he's like, I don't care. So it'll be fun to see and figure out.
Very good. Yeah, it will be. And it'll be interesting for all of us to figure out, honestly. It's something we really want to do. We want to open back up to our guests, but it's going to be a process, that's for sure. That'll have a lot of surprises here and there, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So with that, it sounds like for you personally, though, for your work, it's aside from a few adjustments, everything's fairly status quo and all that for you.
Yeah. So we pivoted to more online content. Our like behind the scenes tours that we were starting up this year are now virtual tours, which is fun to get to do, to still interact with our guests. And then, personally, I'm just like, I'm a homebody, so I go to work and come home normally. I can still do that now, so it's great.
Right. Yeah, for me personally, being home more has actually allowed more time to start cooking more too, which I love doing. So I've been doing a lot more cooking these last few weeks than I have, because the time is there. There's no commute anymore. I get home from work, I'm already home, so I'm cooking.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it works pretty well for me. One thing I did want to ask, though, you had mentioned the virtual tours and your organization yourself. I know you've done a lot of work for the organization to do online content. Where can people go to find all of these great tours? And isn't there one that's got even like your name in it, right? That's the Take a Break with Jake.
So I am really lucky to work with the marketing department over here at the Nashville Zoo, and they have been like championing my my dreams, which is really great. So we have a program that we call Take a Break with Jake that we feature on Instagram Live and then Facebook Live, and we basically feature different animals around the zoo, and then those are uploaded to like our YouTube page. And so that's all like the Nashville Zoo branded media, so the Twitter account, the Instagram page, Facebook, and YouTube. And then, people can check out all of the Nashville Zoo's like conservation work and then the virtual tours at nashvillezoo.org. And it's pretty cool stuff. I'm really pumped about it.
That's cool. And so if you're watching this now or later, make sure you also go follow Nashville Zoo's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, because really for all of us, this is for those that are fans of animals and want to learn more and just enjoy that content. These are such great resources available for them. And us that work in zoos, this is our opportunity to reach the audience still that unfortunately can't come on ground. So I'm excited that Nashville Zoo is doing so much of that. I'm excited you're a part of that, and I want people to definitely check that out. So that's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we've come to the part of the conversation where this is my favorite part, honestly, because we have our spiels, we talk about species, we have our talks we give to the zoo public, or the public in their zoos, or the social media stuff, and there's the talking points we want to hit too. But my favorite part about this is talking to people about their most personal, memorable animal encounter, and it may or may not be work related, but I love the fact that it kind of gives us a new perspective on the human side of the importance of making those contacts and having those moments. So without further ado, Jake, what for you, in all your work you've done with animals or not, is your most memorable animal encounter?
This was like tough to figure out. I've been watching you do these with other people, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. It's tough to like narrow it down though. That's the issue I had. So like, I think we're fortunate as like zoo professionals that we are kind of like saturated with amazing animals every day. But the one thing that like kept sticking out to me as I was pondering this is this one time I got to meet a Hawaiian hawk, and that's just like a simple looking hawk. Like they're nothing out of the ordinary. They're a relative of the red-tailed hawk, which most of us here in the continental US have.
Uh-oh, Jake, you froze. Oh, there you are.
Just popped up.
You froze there for
Am
a
I
second.
back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, so sorry.
It's all right. So you were starting the story. I was like, no.
No. Yeah. So this Hawaiian hawk is like the only species of hawk that's native to Hawaii. So it's pretty special. And I was on a work trip to go pick up another bird, and we stopped at the facility that breeds all kinds of prey. It's called Sia, which is the Comanche word for feather. And they basically are like the Comanche Nation's ethno-ornithological initiative. And so they do a lot of work with like collecting native bird of prey feathers to like distribute out to different nations all around the US. And then they also have one of the largest collections of eagles in the US. And we got to go tour the facility, meet the folks there, and like learn about the cultural significance of birds of prey to the Comanche Nation. And then we were kind of like talking for like a couple hours, and I was like honestly very tired. We drove from Nashville to somewhere in Oklahoma. It was like 10 hours of driving in one day.
Wow.
I was like, this is great, but like I'm ready for bed. And then I think the director kind of noticed that I was kind of like zoning out and like, ooh. And he was like, let me show you something. And he just like walks away for a second, comes back out of the dark, and he just plops on my bare hand this juvenile hawk. And I was like, what is this? Like, I've never seen one like this. I have no idea what this is. Turns out it's a Hawaiian hawk, and they're IUCN, like conservation status is least concern. Like there are a decent number left, but in the United States, they're considered endangered because they're only breeding on one island of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And SIA, this organization, bred the first Hawaiian hawk outside of Hawaii, like in the continental United States. And so he puts this bird on my hand. I'm like, it's real cute. Like, I love a bird. So I was like, you know, yeah, he's cool. And then he's dropping this knowledge on me, and I started crying, Rick. Me, a 25-year-old adult who's held a lot of birds. Like, I've been very fortunate to hold a lot of birds. This one just hit me hard.
Yeah.
Again, like there's nothing super spectacular about this species, but I think that is what makes every species cool. It's like, yeah, there are a bunch like it, but each individual is so unique and so cool. And this bird was so calm, cool, collected, just like looking right up at me, the stranger. That was truly spectacular. Yeah, it was very, very cool.
That sounds very cool. And I totally get what you mean. If, you know, sometimes you just get struck with the individual and the power that you feel there meeting that animal for the first time, but also knowing what that individual can represent for its species.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Hawaiian hawk is considered least concern, but as you mentioned also, and as we know, sometimes species can be listed as vulnerable or least concern, but when you really look at the population numbers and the small pocket, it's like, yes, sure, in this moment right now, that population is considered stable in that space. But man, one major tropical storm could change that dramatically for an island bird.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And so I totally understand that emotional moment, and I'm so glad you had that experience. So
yeah,
I'm assuming the bird was so relaxed because this was one that was hatched under his care, and he'd handle it, right?
Yeah, so he does a ton with eagles, like way more than I could ever understand. But one of the main ways that he breeds birds of prey is, you know, he leaves the chick with the parents if he can. And then if he can't, he does kind of like a co-rearing thing where he'll pull the bird for a day, work with it, put it back with the parents, and back and forth and back and forth. So he has this incredible relationship with this bird to the point where it's very comfortable around him and all other people. And what was so cool was like I had never really heard of a Hawaiian hawk. Like I'm sure I've probably read about it at some point or other, but never like thought or like, you know, stuck with me. And he was like telling me how he takes this Hawaiian hawk chick out and does education with it.
Wow.
So all of these other people who like are not zoo people, who don't get to see animals all the time, are meeting this incredibly cool species. And like the impact that has is like, I think a lot of people won't know like how special that is. But it's truly spectacular to get to see this bird.
Yeah, so, really, yeah. And like you said, I think hopefully those that come in contact with this gentleman and this bird get a sense of just how special that is. That's really, really cool. So I appreciate you sharing that story and admitting that you got emotional about it, because you know, it's one of those things where I think you know, from the outside, when we're doing our job, I think some people think, oh, how cool it is that you're with animals, but they don't necessarily fully understand the depth of emotion of what it goes to our core, you know.
Yeah.
It is a deep part of our soul, having these moments with these animals, and you know, talking about getting emotional about it helps, I think, bring that
Yeah.
across to people that it's not to be taken for granted, and it never really is. So that's great.
No. Yeah. You're so right. Yeah. Very
So
cool.
I have one question that I always follow up and then end the little interview on, but we have a couple extra minutes, so I have to ask you, because you get this question a lot. So I know you got a pocket answer that you can just pull out and say, and if it's a legit answer, I'll take it. But what is your favorite animal?
Oh, man. It, changes day to day. Like,
Okay.
whoever you're looking in the eyes at that time, you're like, oh yeah. Um, I try to break it down to like a bird, a mammal, and a reptile. My all-time favorite has to be the tamandua, because they're just so cool and so cute. But these days I'm really trending towards clouded leopards, and I think that's going to stick for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta love those cloudies. I mean, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard to beat them.
And you guys have a breeding program though, right?
Yeah. So the Nashville Zoo does an incredible job. We've actually had over 40 clouded leopards born at our zoo since 2009. It's kind of crazy.
Which
So
is,
yeah.
and so people, for anybody watching who does not know, clouded leopards do not easily breed. So that number is not just impressive to have that many born in that short of time, but the fact that the Nashville Zoo staff has dialed it in so well that these cats are comfortable breeding and reproducing there. It's not an easy task for that species and under human care. So that is awesome, and I can see that'd be a favorite.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Is yours still binturong?
Yeah. Does the sun rise in the east? It'll never change. It'll never change. And the thing is everybody's a second place position. Everyone.
Okay.
Tamanduas, Fusa, red panda, cloudies, a handful of bird species. I mean, and again, like you said, when I used to get this question, I'm like, oh, it's too hard to say because I love them all. But I kind of rested on the fact that the truth of the matter is I had a really, really special bond with one binturong that has just always stuck with me. And now when I see any binturong, I immediately go, oh, I melt. So it's like I can't deny that happens in my body when I see a binturong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I have to list that as my favorite. But yeah, I mean, I've had the luxury of and pleasure of working with even pangolins, Fusa, binturongs, red pandas, all these guys. It's countless bird species too. And I just, like you said, it's like, who are you looking at right now in the eyes, or who, better yet, says looking you in the eyes, and you feel that connection, so how can you not admit that's a favorite in that moment?
Yeah. It's tough. It's real tough.
It really is. All right, Jake. Well, I'm going to let you go soon. One more thing, because this whole idea of doing these interviews was born out of the idea we were heading towards Endangered Species Day, but now, of course, we are past it. But for you and for me and many like us, every day is kind of a day to focus on endangered species and conservation. So I want to ask you to let my audience know, your audience know, whoever might be watching this later, what would you recommend or suggest or say to someone who might say to you, well, I don't do what you do, so I'm not sure how I can help an endangered rhino, or I don't feel like I can make a difference in conservation. What's the message that you would want to convey to someone, whether it's a child, an adolescent, or an adult?
Yeah, I think the power of simple actions kind of breezes past a lot of us, and we're always looking for what's this big tangible thing that I can do? But every little simple action that we all can do together really makes an impact on wildlife all around the world. So it's as simple as turning off lights when you're not using them, using less water or electricity when you can. Simple things really build up over time. So I suggest kind of learning some of the real quick, easy things that you can do, even if it's buying one less plastic packaging thing a week when you go to the grocery store. Those actions are meaningful. So that's what I like to share with folks.
Perfect. I'll take it. And that's one thing I've also enjoyed about doing these is that everyone's kind of has their own take on that answer. And I think there's a wealth of knowledge between all of us. And one or maybe more of those statements will resonate with somebody watching, and that'll be our impact. That'll make the difference.
Absolutely.
Well, one more time, Jake, people can find you where?
Zoo KPR Jake on Instagram and Zookeeper Jake on Twitter. Thanks.
And also, you're active as a participant in Nashville Zoo's content as well. so they can find you doing your thing, doing your videos, your tours of virtual outreach there as well. So hopefully they'll connect with you. So great. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me and these fun little videos we're doing. So Jake, please take care of yourself, stay healthy, and I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, but I'll keep talking to my audience here for just a little bit longer, okay?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rick. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. Have a good one.
Take care.
All right, everybody. Well, that was my buddy Zookeeper Jake, and I, again, like always at the end of these videos, cannot thank you enough for joining in to hear about Jake's most memorable animal encounter. Today is Wednesday. I've been going nonstop every single day since last Tuesday. I've got the rest of the week booked. We're going to keep going all the way through Friday. Well, actually, let me talk a little bit about tomorrow. There was a day not too long ago where I had a gentleman named Jungle Jordan on here doing his most memorable animal moment, and a couple people said the Rick and Jake show, or Rick and Jake show, listen to me, Rick and Jordan show, or Jordan and Rick show. And so yeah, we were like, maybe. So Thursday, instead of my usual 1 o'clock live, I'll be joining Jungle Jordan at 7. He will be posting about that on his account shortly, or sometime today or tomorrow, and I will also be posting about that. So 1 o'clock tomorrow, I won't be here doing a live, but I'll be live around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening Pacific time, and you can check us out and hang and see what's going on with that. Then Friday, I've got a 1 o'clock, and I'll let you in on that on Thursday, who that's going to be. Pretty excited, coming from more of the science research background, studying animals in the wild, so that'll be fun. And now I've also started booking for the following week. The schedule's kind of coming together, so we've got at least one more week of these. It's only Wednesday right now, so I hope you guys can join me on those as well. All right, so I'll let you all go. Thank you guys for joining me, and you know what? Have a good one, everybody.